This is the time set for sentencing in CR 2021-001704, CR 2022-001242, State of Arizona versus Lori Daybell. Is the state ready to proceed?
Trina Kay, on behalf of the state is ready to proceed.
Is the defendant ready to proceed?
Yes.
All right. Ms. Daybell, it's the judgment of the court that in CR 2021-001704, pursuant to a unanimous jury verdict of guilt, that you are guilty of count 1, conspiracy to commit first-degree murder. It's a Class 1 felony committed in violation of Arizona revised statutes on July 11 of 2019. As to this count, the court also finds that pursuant to your stipulation and agreement on the record following the verdict of guilt, that this is a dangerous offense. The offense caused physical, emotional, or financial harm to the victim, or if the victim died as a result of the conduct that you engaged in, it caused emotional or financial harm to the victim's immediate family. The offense also involved the presence of an accomplice. It is also the judgment of the court in CR 2022-001242, pursuant to a unanimous jury verdict of guilt, that you are guilty of count 1, conspiracy to commit first-degree murder. It's a Class 1 felony committed in violation of Arizona revised statutes on October 2nd of 2019. As to this count, the court also finds that pursuant to the stipulation and agreement that you made on the record following the verdict of guilt, that this is a dangerous offense and the offense involved the presence of an accomplice. It's ordered entering judgment of guilt for each count in each case. Accordingly, the court will make additional findings regarding additional aggravating factors later in these proceedings. I've reviewed the pre-sentence report as well as the state's sentencing memorandum. Is the state ready to present its side?
Yes, Your Honor. First, we would like to have some of the next of kin and victims speak, starting with the 2021 matter. We would like to first call a couple of people who are speaking virtually. Lori Woodcock should be on, no? All right. While we wait to get him, is Bobby Vallow on? All right. We're also saying that's not on. Susan Vallow? Have we allowed people in?
Do they have Myers, please?
Yeah, we did send.
I just spoke with them. They're hopping on now.
Oh,
All right,
they're hopping on
Colby
right now.
Ryan, I think, is the only one.
All right. Well, with that, Your Honor, so we'll start with the virtual. So since Colby is on right now, if we could have Colby Ryan speak first.
All right, Mr. Ryan, if you want to unmute yourself.
Yeah, I'm here.
Go ahead, sir.
All right. My name is Colby Ryan. I'm the son of Charles Vallow, the brother of Tylee Ryan and JJ Vallow. I'm here to tell you what I've lost. Not only are my father, sister, and brother gone, but so is my mother. Starting 6 years ago, the horror began. During the middle of my workday, I was alerted that my father had passed away from a heart attack. I spent the whole day at work in shock. I spoke to my mother and felt that I needed to come and stop by after my shift. After a long conversation, she hesitantly agreed. When I arrived at her house, I found out that what she had told me previously about the heart attack was not the case. My father had been shot and killed in what was labeled self-defense. I saw how my sister fell into my stomach with her emotions and sobbed. My brother JJ was asleep. Afterwards, I came home to my wife, and our young baby sat on the floor and completely broke down. My life would never be the same. My sister was caught up in the middle of this hell. She was only 16 years old. My little brother was barely 7. Within a few weeks, life continued to move quickly. My little brother, in just one day, had his father ripped away from him, and so did my sister. No matter how tough Tylee tried to be, she was scared, and I know she was scarred. She held a burden that no teenager should ever have to endure. My father, Charles Vallow, cared for his family. He took care of our family, and he made sure we had a good life. He was a very generous man, and would give you the shirt off of his back. Here's the reality. In January 2019, I was told by my mother, Lori Vallow, that my father had been unfaithful to her for years. I was distraught by this news, and Lori's actions sold the story. I naively believed her and thought that my father betrayed my family. Little did I know it was my mother having the affair all along. She accused others of what she was doing herself. I regretfully decided to stop speaking to my father. On July 11th, 2019, I would be flooded by the reality that my choice not to speak to him would be a lifelong sorrow. What I lost on July 11, 2019 was a father who was trying to help me in life and a man who wanted to see his grandchild and someone who wanted to give guidance and love. I lost a father. This affected me in more ways than anyone could ever know. I have to live with the regret of not speaking to him before he was murdered in cold blood. This did not only affect me. My little brother, Gerry Vallow, was only 7 years old, and he had autism and had his life picked apart and never explained. One day he saw his father coming to him to pick him up at the house, and then never saw him again. My sister Tylee carried too much responsibility and was put in positions no child should ever have to be in. Part of that responsibility was being told to retrieve Lori's purse inside the house, possibly witnessing her father's body. Here's the reality. Neither Tylee nor JJ had time to even process or grieve. My mother, Lori Vallow, moved them out of state, and only a couple of weeks later, little did we know that my little sister, Tylee, only had 60 days before she would meet the same fate. My little sister must have been so scared, confused, anxious, and broken, and angry in every emotion you could think of. My little brother, JJ, would only have 74 days before he met the same fate. He must have been confused, worried, sad, and frustrated without the ability to fully comprehend his feelings. I know I'm here to tell you the effect that this has had on me. In simple terms, each one of my family members was taken from us all in one swoop. My father was gone in an instant, and later my sister and brother disappeared until they were later found in Lori Vallow's new husband's backyard. This has affected me personally. I had to do something I've never done, and that was fight to stay alive after the pain. There are no words for what I've experienced, and I had to choose to fight and to stay alive for my children and for my wife. Now I'd like to address Lori Vallow. She claims to be Jesus's favorite. She claims to lead a spiritual life, and she claims that she loves everybody, and she also claims to have seen Jesus and visited with him. When did Jesus allow us to commit adultery? When did Jesus change the commandment of thou shalt not kill? When did Jesus allow us to steal money from our dead children? When did Jesus tell us to lie our way through life? It must be a very sad life to smile your way through all the pain you've caused. Rather than being able to acknowledge the pain that she has caused, she would rather say that Charles, Tylee, and JJ's death were a family tragedy and not her evil doing. And I will say this, if you want to see darkness, look at the murdering cult that claims God has commissioned their mission to kill my family and others. Quite frankly, I believe that Lori Vallow herself is the family tragedy. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ryan.
Thank you. I believe Larry is now online. We can have him speak next.
Larry Woodcock, if you'd like to unmute, go ahead, sir. What would you like to tell me?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you, sir, and thank the court for allowing me to be present. I truly wish I was there to look the murderers in the eyes. I'm unable to. I will say this. Murderers, You're nothing. You're a murderer. You're a narcissist, psychopath, delusional murderer. I can't tell you the harm that you have caused to our family, but I will tell you this. I know where you're going to be till you die. You're going to be in an 8x6 cell. You're going to have a steel cot. You're going to have a 12x8 desk and a stainless steel toilet. You will have 23 hours a day in there. I hope you spend the rest of your life 23 hours a day regretting your choices, because that's all it was, murderous. It was your choices. You made them. You and your husband, if that's what you want to call him. For what? You murdered Charles, the best thing that was ever in your life, for your delusional, narcissistic way. I will never speak your name again, murderers. You will never get anything out of me again in your life. You are nothing. You are nothing. You killed Tylee. Did you enjoy it? Look at me, Lori. Did you enjoy it? Did you dance around the fire like you sent the videos to Chad of you dancing around in your room for him? Did you enjoy it? And then the most precious thing, a 7-year-old autistic, unbelievably God's present to Kay and I, to Todd. Look at Todd. Turn around and look at him, Lori, because that's the last time you're ever going to hear my name out of your mouth. Look at Todd. Have you said you're sorry? You wrapped JJ's hands in tape. You wrapped his arms in tape. You covered his eyes. And you buried him in 8 inches of ground. Murderous! May God have mercy on your soul, because that's the only thing in life. And don't count on God where you're going. You're nothing, murderous. I can't stand you. I always said, from out of some place you never saw came a sound you never heard. Well, I will not say that anymore. I want you to see and hear everything that's going to happen in your life. I want you to live it 23 hours a day. I despise you. You murdered JJ. You murdered Tammy. I'll always believe you murdered Alex. You're a murderer mistress, murderer. You're worthless. I can't believe 6.5 years of putting up with you. You are not worth it. The 4 murders that you're accused of are only ones that they can prove. Lori, you tried to kill me. I left your house in Hawaii. You tried to kill me going back home. But guess what? I beat you. I'm able to sit here and laugh at you and watch you go to prison. There's others you tried to kill. God bless JJ. God bless Tylee. And most of all, God bless our family. Thank you, Your Honor, for allowing me to speak my final piece to her.
All right, thank you, Mr. Woodcock.
Your Honor, Susan will be up next.
Okay.
Good morning. I'm Susan, one of Charles's older sisters. I'm here to share the emotional impact of Charles's tragic sister's death for me. Charles and I had just started renewing our relationship with each other. One day in 2019 at Kay's house, Charles said to me, "Come see, sis." So I went to see what he wanted. He said, "I'm going to give you a car." And I just about passed out. I told him, I said, "I love you, Charles." He said, "I love you too, sis." And we hugged. And these were the last words we ever spoke to each other. Needless to say, because of your selfish, deliberate, and horrifying actions, it's never happened. My brother's love, kindness, and generous nature knew no bounds. He wore his heart on his sleeve. You took all that away from us. July 12, 2019 changed my life forever. It still hurts to reflect on the day I was told my brother had been taken from the world the day before. You didn't even have the decency to bother with letting our family know of Charles's death until the day after by means of a vague text from one of Charles's sons. My brother's death was a deliberate act of evil and self-seeking financial gain. Your greed has caused so much pain. To this day, how could you do such an evil and intentional harm and take my brother's life for money, lust, and power? The pain you caused in having to relive this nightmare, all because you didn't want Charles anymore. He didn't die from cancer or an accident. He was young and had a beautiful life left to live. You took that away. You planned and calculated his death. There isn't a day that goes by I haven't thought of this tragedy which you caused. I will never have another birthday, holiday, or other celebrations in life with my brother. Charles was victimized at the hands of you, Lori, and your accomplices. To do this to Charles, to receive money is sickening. I am disgusted and truly appalled by your evil, selfish, and reprehensible actions. You will miss out on wearing nice clothes, driving what was once your Range Rover, thick, juicy steaks, barbecues, and no more quiet, no more freedom, only rules. I have forgiven you, Lori. When Jesus calls me home, I don't want any of this on my soul. Thank you.
All right, thank you, ma'am.
I'm not sure that Bobby's been able to get on, Your Honor, so I believe next Todd Trahan will be speaking.
Sir, you want to come up to this podium right here?
No, never mind. There's one. Oh, never mind. He's gone.
You're Todd Trahan,
Yes, sir.
and what would you like to tell me, sir?
I asked to address Lori, if
All
I
right.
can.
Go ahead.
Lori, Uncle Charles was a man of God, love. He knew God because he loved everybody around him. I trusted y'all with my family, the only son I had, because I couldn't give him the life that y'all could give him. I gave him up for y'all to raise him. I deal with the regret. I've dealt with I've dealt with the torment of making that choice. I'm here today to forgive you. I know what it's like to be in prison. I was in prison when y'all got the rights to my son. I know what it's like. Once you get done with this court and you go sit in that cell, you got to relive everything that you did. I hope for you that you understand the truth of what God did on the cross, because God died not only for me, he died for the unlovable. People that the world thinks shouldn't, they judge. I hope you understand the truth before you die. You still have a chance. You don't have to live evil the rest of your life. You can turn from that. You ask God to come into your life and show you his love, and it'll transform you. I want to thank the court for letting me get up here and say these things. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Next should be Kresha Trahan.
Kresha,
Yes.
what would you like to say?
All right, let's see. My name is Kresha Trahan, and I stand before this court today as a voice for the shattered remains of my family, a family that has been ruthlessly decimated. Not only were lives stolen, but also our peace, our trust, and the very fabric of what a family should be. Charles, my uncle, and my mother Kay's beloved brother, was so much more than just a relative. He was a cornerstone of our family. I remember his infectious laugh, his corny jokes, his unwavering optimism, and his genuine care for everyone around him. He had a way of making everyone feel seen and valued. I gotta catch my breath. One of my fondest memories is how he was always there for my mother, his sister, Kay. Their bond was incredibly strong, and they supported each other through everything. He was the kind of man who would drop anything to help someone in need. The news of his death in July 2019 shattered me, and it sent shockwaves through our entire family. It was sudden and incomprehensible. My mother, Vallow Woodcock, his sister, was also devastated. The pain of losing her brother was immense, and it was a wound that has never fully healed. It's hard to see your own mother go through these kind of things, because it's something you can't fix. For me, it felt like a light had gone out in the world. We relied on his steady presence and his ability to bring people together. The initial grief was compounded by the horrific circumstances surrounding his death. To learn that his own wife was involved in his demise was a betrayal of the deepest kind. It added a layer of anger and disbelief to our sorrow. The questions of why and how haunted us, turning our grief into a constant ache of injustice. We now know the chilling extent of the premeditation. Records on Chad Daybell's Gmail account show searches for Ned Snyder, 1996, Death, Louisiana, and bodies possessed after original occupant dies, as early as January 28, 2019. This was before Charles was ever referred to as Ned Snyder. This revealed a calculated descent into her delusion. Charles was fighting for his life and for his children's future long before his death. On February 20th, 2019, Charles called Banner Life to change his beneficiary to my mother, Kay, specifically for his special needs son, and to place a PIN code on his account. He was clearly concerned about someone accessing his account. Just 6 days later, on February 26, 2019, he called again to finalize the change, but couldn't provide a password he had never set. That's how distraught he was. He had never set the password. He had set the password and forgot that he had set the password. Growing angry as he suspected fraudulent access. From March 19th to March 21st, 2019, even while Charles was alive and still married, his wife and Chad Daybell traveled from Idaho to Arizona together, as evidenced by tickets in her iCloud account. On March 21st, 2019, she was back at the Four Points, Sheraton, and Mesa using their Wi-Fi, all while plotting and believing in twisted narratives. Her so-called spiritual beliefs were nothing more than a thinly veiled excuse for murder, justification for murder. The names used for Charles, Ned Schneider, Iplos, Heplos, we don't know, were born from Chad Daybell's internet searches. Zalema's cellular phone records paint a disturbing picture of the generated belief system, with discussions about Chad's so-called gifts to cast out dark spirits, remove swords, and place spiritual armor. This was all a grotesque fabrication designed to justify heinous crimes. There was talk of healing quicker and reversing age, for Christ's sake. Oh, wow. While actively plotting the deaths of innocent people that trusted her. Perhaps the most heartbreaking detail is the decision Charles made to try and make his marriage work. He truly believed in reconciliation, and he really loved Lori, his wife. He took his wife back into his life, and in a text to his attorney, Taylor, he wrote, quote, "What can I say, Taylor? Love always wins," unquote. These were the words of a man clinging to hope, a hope that ultimately led him to his death. Tylee, my step-cousin, was a bright and blossoming young woman full of life and potential. Even though our family connection was through marriage, she was our family connection. She was always considered one of us. I remember her vibrant energy and her protective nature towards JJ. It reminds me of how I am with my brother, Todd. She had dreams of traveling the world and truly living life. She possessed a unique spirit and a kindness that radiated from her. When Tylee disappeared, the initial worry quickly turned into agonizing fear. We desperately hoped for her safe return, clinging to any shred of possibility. The eventual news of her murder was soul-crushing. a stark and brutal end to a life that had barely begun. The pain of knowing her potential was extinguished so violently, it's unbearable. We mourn the experiences she will never have, the milestones she will never reach, and the person she would have become. The world is undeniably darker without Tylee's light. And then JJ, my nephew, my only nephew, was a sweet and innocent little boy who brought immeasurable joy to our family. Joshua Jackson Vallow was born Canaan Todd Trahan. He was born to my brother Todd Trahan and his longtime girlfriend Mandy Leger in Lake Charles, Louisiana on May 25th, 2012. He was 10 weeks premature and he had drugs in his system. I remember pacing the halls of the labor and delivery floor to see what his prognosis was. And I remember praying and reaching out to friends on social media to ask them to pray too. I remember him having tubes and wires coming out of his tiny little body to help him reach stable balance. My nephew smashed my own doubts and fought so hard to come into this world. And it's no surprise to me to learn how he fought for his life to stay in this world. When his mother, his uncle, and his mother's side piece preyed on a 7-year-old autistic boy and snuffed him out. Think about that. Later burying him in a shallow grave in the backyard of her future husband's property. As an autistic child, he had unique challenges, but also unique gifts. His infectious giggle, his love for dinosaurs and planes, and his need for a routine or memories we will forever cherish. I saw a video where he would line up his plushie toys and he would play the drums for his audience. It was so cute. Okay, sorry. My mouth is so dry. I'll never, wait. Or how he sang on my parents' 56-passenger bus and then was joined by his Papa Larry to sing to one another. I'm also blessed to have captured this interaction on film that day. I never knew it would be played by news outlets all over the world when he and his sister Tylee had gone missing. He was a vulnerable and trusting child who relied on the adults in his life for love and protection. The betrayal of trust in his adoption and subsequent murder is a profound and lasting wound. She adopted him to get him out of a bad situation just to murder him? Lori Noreen Cox was an unloved daughter. She didn't even get her own name. She was never allowed to be herself, an individual with her own identity and her own life. She was always told she was someone else, living someone else's life. Her mother, in her grief over losing her infant daughter, convinced herself that Lolly's spirit came back to her in a new body. She convinced herself that she never lost Lolly, but that Lolly was so special she was allowed to come back to Earth again. And then she was convinced that she was Lolly. But the reality is that Lolly was lost. The hard truth is that sometimes infants die, and there's no reasoning and no explanation that makes it feel better. Sometimes babies just die. But her mother couldn't sit with that. She couldn't accept that, and so instead she taught her that she was Laura Lee. She taught her that Laura Lee must have had such a special mission that her spirit got to come back in her body. She was taught that she didn't matter. She was taught that she didn't deserve to have her own name, her own life, her own identity. She was devoured. And then to make matters worse, she was violated. I don't know when or how or by whom exactly, but she knows. She knows what happened. She knows who did it to her. She may pretend that it never happened, but the memory of it lives in her cells, and she can't ignore it because those feelings come for her, and they find her in the quiet moments she wishes would go away. I know what it, okay, sorry. I'm gonna skip. That was I'm crediting Megan for that. Here's the final plea for justice. The actions of the defendant have systematically dismantled families, leaving behind a trail of unimaginable grief and trauma. My family, especially my mother and my brother, have endured unspeakable pain because of these actions. We lost a brother, a son, and a nephew. And the lingering fear and sorrow inflicted are a constant heavy burden. I implore this court to impose the maximum sentence possible. The defendant deserves to spend the rest of her life incarcerated, held accountable for every life stolen, every heart broken, and every family destroyed. Her calculated cruelty has earned her nothing less than the hardest consequences. Let justice finally be served for Charles, Tylee, and JJ, and I can't forget Tammy. My uncle Charles's last words to his attorney about taking his wife back were, "What can I say, Taylor? Love always wins." In his memory and for the countless lives impacted by these horrific crimes, I hope that justice for once truly wins. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next will be Kay Woodcock.
Go ahead and go up to the podium.
Oh, okay.
I'm thinking testify.
Can I sit up there? No. Gotta be here? Okay. Charles. Okay. I'll figure you got me to do. Shut up. It's the one. It's the one in JJ. Just be on this one.
Is this the statement? Is this her statement?
This is whose?
This is yours.
Never heard. Okay, anyway, it's okay.
Okay.
Hey, I'll need a water if you can have it. Your Honor, I stand before you today to honor Charles, my big brother. This courtroom is where Charles finally receives the justice he fought for and never saw in life. Thank you for allowing me to speak. Charles was more than my brother. He was the backbone of our family. He was steady, loyal, and endlessly generous. He was the kind of man who showed up for everyone without ever asking for anything in return. When you walked into the room with Charles, you felt safe, you felt valued, and that's what makes this all so unbearable, because the very person who should have cherished him the most, his own wife, betrayed him in the cruelest, most calculated way imaginable. Charles was a protector by nature, the man who would give you the shirt off his back and then ask what else he could do to help. He loved fiercely, laughed easily, and built his life around the simple but powerful values of family, faith, and hard work. It feels right that this trial comes after those for JJ, Tylee, and Tammy, because he was a true Southern gentleman. I know he would have told us to take care of them first. Lori. First, let me say this. Charles is not your husband. I can't do that.
You have to address the court.
Okay. Sorry. Charles is not your husband. Your disgusting co-monster, Chad, is. The Miss Texas pageant, Wheel of Fortune, Extra on Modern Family, July 31st, 2023. What do they all have in common? They're all days that failed to make you famous or idolized. Infamous? Yes, but never famous, never idolized. You spent your entire life chasing cameras, applause, and validation like oxygen, but here you are, exposed, convicted, stripped of the lies you wrapped yourself in. All your interviews, all your attempts to manipulate, triangulate, and control the narrative, even the one released just last night, have failed. The world sees what I saw in 2019 when you abandoned Charles, Colby, Tylee, and JJ to chase that grotesque shadow of a man, Chad Daybell. You call yourself a mother, a wife, a woman of God. You are none of these things. You are a liar, a fraud, and a murderer. Did you think you could charm your way out of this? Do you believe people can't see through the lies? Do you honestly think that you are smarter, holier, or more special than everyone else? You are not. You are an ordinary, plain, run-of-the-mill, middle-aged woman. You keep saying to anyone who will listen that no one understands because they weren't there. So tell me, Lori, what don't we understand? Was it you who shot Charles? Is that why you kept asking during the trial about testing your hands for gunshot residue? Was that your grotesque way of gloating? You murdered Charles, you confessed to the conspiracy. Do you think we all missed that? You took his phone and played a childish game of keep away and then tried to sell the world that this was a good reason for Alex or you to shoot him. And every single one of us sitting in this courtroom saw right through it. That day started a domino effect, except you tipped the first domino and you kept those dominoes falling until everyone was dead. Charles, Tylee, JJ, Tammy, and the wake of devastation you left for Colby, for our entire families, and for an entire community who watched your evil unfold. You asked me during the trial where I was when Charles was murdered. You asked almost every witness if they were there, or if they saw with their eyes or heard with their ears you and Alex conspiring to murder my brother. No, we weren't, but you're right, as much as I hate to utter those words, and if you are to be believed, neither were you. How dare you desecrate the memory of Charles and your children the way you did their bodies? How dare you blame them for your crimes? We all know what happened, Lori. There is no denying it. We've sat in courtrooms, seen the evidence, seen the wreckage you caused. We have listened to the truth tellers. Nothing is taken out of context. Your land of make-believe is just transparent. The facts and the science don't play games. They tell the truth, how many times Charles was shot, at what angles, and how long he'd been dead before 911 was called. The 47 minutes. Because you were busy trying to manufacture an alibi. Science doesn't lie, you do. Detectives, prosecutors, jurors, advocates, the men and women who had to bear witness to this horror, please stand. Chuck Considas, Eric Wheeler, Ron Ball, Ray Hermosillo. They are from Rexburg, Idaho, and they were key in bringing justice to you. Thank you, guys. These individuals bear the weight of directly confronting your actions. They took that burden home to their spouses, children, and sleepless nights. They endured tragedy. You didn't just take our loved ones. You sparked a tragedy that now affects countless families. They understand, they were there, and they worked tirelessly to bring you to justice. Chandler PD never believed your bullshit. They didn't charge you immediately because they were busy untangling your web of deception. So you can continue making claims that no one understands because we weren't there. But make no mistake, we stand perfectly. We understand premeditation. We understand conspiracy. We understand fraud, insurance policies, and false alibis. We understand how long bodies lay in the ground while you danced, vacationed, and manipulated for attention. We understand the cost, emotional, financial, spiritual, that all of us have paid to clean up the wreckage of your delusion. Therapy, lost work, trauma, panic attacks, courtrooms and funerals, ashes and empty chairs. You are so selfish, so pathologically self-centered that you can't even see the shockwaves you created in every life around you. Webster's dictionary defines tragedy as a disastrous event. What happened to my family is precisely that, a series of disastrous events, each one engineered by you. You and Chad built a religion of narcissism, two people drunk on the fantasy of being special, chosen, above the law, above humanity itself. You labeled people as dark to justify murder. You wrapped evil in scripture and called it faith. You and Chad murdered your children and spouses and then hid behind a veil of lies. You are not exalted. You are not translated. You are a manipulator, a parasite, and a coward. You have no remorse. Your deflection is disgusting. Your interviews are manipulative. Your faith is counterfeit. You still talk as if you're somehow misunderstood. No, wrong. You're fully understood. We see who you are, a manipulator, a liar, and a destroyer. And the worst thing is, Charles loved you. He protected you, and you repaid him with betrayal and bullets. You left him dead on the floor and then went shopping for flip-flops and a new life with your apocalyptic con man. You tried to erase him, stealing his phone, twisting the narrative, and lying to anyone who would listen. But the truth doesn't lie, Lori, and now the truth has destroyed you. Lori, you have noticed this courtroom is full. It's not because people admire you. It's not because they see instrument in God's hands. It's because you're a sideshow freak, a murderous carnival act. People come to gawk at the monster who thinks she's divine. They don't come to honor you. They come to witness the wreckage of your delusion and to see justice crush it. You've always wanted an audience, but this audience isn't here to adore you. They are here to watch you fall, to watch you stripped of the spotlight you crave, to see your false crown ripped away. You are not a goddess. You are not chosen. You are not powerful. You just thought you could play God and win. The only legacy you leave is this. You will be remembered not as an instrument of God, but as a pitiful, cautionary tale of evil and narcissism. Your life will end behind concrete and steel while the world outside remembers JJ's smile, Tylee's strength, Charles's kindness, and Tammy's light. You will be forgotten, except as the sideshow act you've made of yourself, a monster who wanted to be worshipped, but who will only ever be pitied. But the legacy of Charles, JJ, Tylee, and Tammy is here in this courtroom, a new type of family built on love. Colby and his family, Tammy's family, the men and women who battled evil, all of us united, because as Charles said, love always wins. Finally, I want to say this. You once claimed that no one could judge you because they weren't there. Today, everyone is here, the court is here, justice is here, and now judgment has arrived. May this sentence be as permanent as the graves you filled.
I think Kay has a letter she's reading.
Okay.
Hi, Judge Boreski. My name is JJ Vallow. I can't be here today to read this letter because I am dead. I was murdered by the defendant, Lori Daybell, or as I used to call her, Mom. See, there are a whole lot of tragedies that have happened to my family, and all of them are the result of my mom's actions. See, my daddy was the first of the dominoes to fall. The day he was murdered, everything good in my world started to crumble. Actually, that's not true. It started before then. It started when she met her co-conspirator, Chad. She abandoned me for 72 days in early 2019. My daddy, Charles, was there for every bit of it. He tried so hard to keep me on my schedule. See, I have autism, and that isn't a bad thing. It just means that I needed extra attention and routines because my brain and my body had more energy than you could ever imagine. To help you understand, it might help to tell you about myself. I went to a really cool school and special school called Lawrence Academy. It's Lawrence Institute for Education. And I loved it. I loved my teachers and my classmates. They understood me so well, and I just thrived there. I was able to go to that school because my dad worked so hard and provided me a special education because I am a special boy. I had a best four-legged friend ever, Bailey, my service dog. Bailey went everywhere with me and kept me calm and safe. I loved Bailey so much, but Lori got rid of Bailey after my dad was murdered, but before she murdered me entirely. See, my world crumbled without my dad. Without him to protect me, everything changed. She took me out of my school and told my teachers that my dad committed suicide. She told them on my last day of school. She told me too. I cried all day and just kept saying, my dad's not dead, my dad's not dead, with tears rolling down my face. And I missed my dad. Now I had lost Bailey, my school. And now my dad wasn't just on a business trip anymore. He was dead. Then within the next few days, it got worse. We moved. All of a sudden, I was at Colby's, my big brother's work, telling him goodbye. I couldn't go play with my cousins at Brandon's house anymore. Braxy and Bridie were taken away too. My aunts, uncles, brothers, grandparents, teachers, friends at school, my mama and papa, and Ashlyn, and everything that I knew was gone, all because my dad couldn't protect me anymore. He was my best friend. I loved my dad more than I can ever explain. Lori caused the next tragedy in my family too, the next domino to fall. There was one thing I had left, was my big sister Tylee. She murdered her too. She murdered her on September 8th of 2019, just 59 days after my dad was murdered. Days after she ripped my world apart and took me away from everyone and everything that made me feel safe and secure. Then on September 23rd, 2019, she murdered me. Lori took my dad away. She took away the best man, the protector of me and Tylee. I am dead because she killed him. He never would have let her hurt me And I know he died protecting me. He took 6 years for me to be able to have a voice, to be here to say what the death of my dad did to me. I am not a domino that fell in her life. I am Joshua Jackson Vallow. I am the son of Charles Vallow. I should be 13 years old now, but I'm forever 7. The impact of my father's death was my murder. And Judge, it is 13 years today that JJ's adoption was finalized, and they moved him immediately right away to Hawaii. And I hope you remember that. I trusted you!
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning.
My name is Gerry Vallow. Charles was my big brother. And wasn't but a few weeks ago, I was sitting out in my garage with the door open. It was raining a little bit, listening to the fireworks in the distance. And all I could think about was everything I've lost and why. And I kept making excuses not to write a statement. But the truth is, there are no words big enough for the impact this has had, and yet here I am. I am a veteran. I served honorably for this country and everything it's supposed to stand for: freedom, independence, and justice. I knew good men that went to war. Some of them came home badly broken. Some came home and couldn't live with the weight of what they carried and ended their lives. Some didn't come home at all. Those men fought for something real, a country with laws that protect the innocent and punish the guilty. That's why I'm here to speak for Charles, my big brother, one of the innocents, because I still believe in that. And Lori shit on all of it. She doesn't deserve to breathe the air those men fought for. She doesn't deserve to sit and play victim when she is the reason we are all here. When I came home from my service overseas, Charles invited me to live with him. He offered a home and support until I adjusted to civilian life again. That's just who he was: giving, loving, supportive, caring. And he was funny, social, and everyone he met became his friends. You couldn't help but be drawn to him. You loved him. He wasn't just my big brother, he was my best friend. We grew up together on the bayous and rivers in South Louisiana, spending countless days and nights camping, fishing, hunting, exploring, and just being kids. We had so much fun. We learned to survive, trust each other, and become men. I miss him every day. He was a devoted father, a teacher, someone who guided and loved his kids with every fiber of his being. All 5 of his children meant the world to him. And he spent his last months fighting for Tylee and JJ because he was a protector. He was a son, a father, a brother, an uncle, a good man. He didn't deserve to die, and he sure as hell didn't deserve to be vilified by the woman that killed him. I keep asking why. Why? Is it about $1 million? He wasn't just a dollar sign to fund Lori's sick game of make-believe. She tried to cash in on his life, and when that didn't work, she brutally murdered her kids for money, and she tried to kill Brandon when he started looking like the next available dollar sign. His murder impacted not only me, but my entire family. She tried to tear us apart, but she couldn't because we're pretty strong, resilient people. It didn't stop with Charles's death. JJ, Tylee, Tammy, all murdered, and Brandon almost lost his life. Innocent lives were stolen, and we all feel the deep pain and loss, and it hurts and will for years to come. Lori is responsible for all of this. This isn't a family tragedy that occurred randomly. It was a deliberate act of evil. This has never been a mission from God. She isn't an instrument in God's hands. She was sleeping with Chad Daybell behind Charles's back while planning his murder. You know what kind of instrument kills a father in cold blood, buries 2 kids in a pet cemetery, and lies through her teeth while doing it? It's called a weapon. And God doesn't use weapons against innocence. She wasn't doing God's work. She was selfish, cruel, and calculated. God didn't send her to commit murder. She used his name to justify evil. That's not God's work. That's blasphemy, plain and simple. She used God's name like a weapon, lied in his name, killed in his name, and now she wants to stand in court and she claims she's doing the Lord's work. She's not some misunderstood woman. She's not some grief-stricken mother. She's not a victim of this story. She wrote her own disgusting make-believe story, and she wrote it in blood. She didn't cry for Charles. She didn't mourn JJ or Tylee, no matter what she says. She erased them. And she didn't give a damn about Tammy. So when she sits there and pretends this is some kind of tragic twist of fate, like she didn't like the fuse, remember that. She didn't just kill Charles. She stole him from everyone who loved him, from his boys, from our family, from me. She didn't just break the law. She pissed all over it and tried to claim righteousness. She started this. She caused this. She wasn't caught in some domino effect. She pushed the first one and kept pushing till there was none left standing. She twisted everything, God, family, and loves. And she thinks she can twist justice too? Don't let her. Don't let her twist away from what she did. She murdered my brother, Charles. Give her what she's earned.
Thank you, sir.